Hello, welcome to my discussion of Chapter 10, Assessing Writing, from Brown and Abeyewicz-Rama's Language Assessment, Principles and Classroom Practices. I'll begin with a review of the principles set forward by Brown and Abeyewicz-Rama, and then move forward to how the actual assignment for the writers is constructed. So, thanks for being here. First off, what is writing? Although it's dependent on reading, it really is a skill unto itself. This is complicated for language learners by the expectations that they actually attain a level of writing proficiency that many first language users do not actually attain. The expectations for writing also change depending on the genre in which one is writing, and this can be very confusing for ELLs. In this situation, I'm focusing on writing for advanced language learners who are on college prep track and completing a series of ESL classes. The purpose for this assignment is that it would be their final class assignment that familiarizes them with academic standards, make sure that they have a certain amount of preparation for college placement exams, and that they can and do understand the conventions surrounding some professional and academic writing situations. Advanced writing raises some concerns. First, the assignments have to include face and content validity. They need to have formative assessment and positive washback. Scoring addresses these functions as well as the form and the quantity of the quality of the writing as a whole. The students in this situation are encouraged to explore a real-world issue. They are organized for multiple drafts, including peer reviews and self-reviews, as well as receiving instructor responses. The final assessment evaluates their writing document as a whole and as in parts. Unfortunately, the school year adds a time limit on this assignment that might not be real in the normal, regular world. The taxonomic focus here is on the macro skills, specifically the rhetoric, form, tone, and idea connections. It also requires a certain amount of cultural reference in that they are addressing issues within their own neighborhood. The strategies for the paper are that it is basically a problem solution situation, although some students may see it as a cause and effect discussion. In the paper, students are encouraged to use creative thought processes and make a positive impact on a local neighborhood level issue. The scoring for the assignment would be hands-on for drafts. This would allow students to see what works for other peer writers in the peer review process, and to think about applying that set of standards to those concerns in their own papers. The instructor response and feedback process also joins into that. The final paper itself will be scored analytically with a rubric in order to be most effective for the student progress. Students will have all of this information at the beginning of the assignment so that they can have it for reference during their development of the paper. The actual assignment itself starts here. It requires students to address a social or environmental issue in their neighborhood that, if addressed, would actually make their neighborhood a better place to live. The realistic topics empower students to identify real-world people as audiences for their writing, and to facilitate an understanding of social change processes and expectations, and the types of communication that they might engage in order to do something like this if they were operating on a real-world level. They are given a tool set for the assignment. This includes a 5-paragraph essay outline form, which would have been addressed previously for them, so it would not be new information. They would also have the peer review form, which would have been previously used, and a rubric describing the expectations for the final paper. Other references would also include their textbook for structural or grammar references, a dictionary for spelling references, and the Purdue OWL website if they were to cite any sources that they could have a reference for MLA. The assignment has a specific timeline. For the first class of the assignment, they would be doing brainstorming in small breakout groups to explore their topics and the environmental or social impacts of them in discussion groups. And then in the second class, they would be able to spend a little bit more time adding some focus and detail on their outlines. In class 3 would begin the review process on their first drafts. They would first do a self-evaluation and submit that to the instructor, and then copies of the papers to 2 peers for evaluation, and the instructor would then also provide some guiding commentary. The peer reviews and instructors' comments would be completed as homework. Yes, the instructors get homework too. Isn't that amazing? And all of this would be returned to the authors in class 4. In class 4, we could have a group discussion on the most common points of feedback to ensure that there's a clarity of purpose for all of the writers and that everyone is moving in a positive direction. Class 5 would be predominantly a writing workshop where each writer would be working towards their second draft and making revisions or expansions based on the peer reviews that they've already received. In class 6, the second drafts would be returned to writers, and they would also have individual conferences with the instructor in order to get a final set of feedback, to ask any more questions that they may have regarding higher order issues in their papers. The 7th class would be a specific writing workshop where they could address proofreading or grammatical issues that might still need to be resolved in their paper. The final assignment would be due in the beginning of the 8th class. The submission package would have the final paper, the brainstorming activities, the original outline, the first draft with the self and peer reviews and the instructor's feedback, the second draft with the self-review and the instructor's feedback, plus copies of any sources that they consulted. And basically this gives them a whole lot of work for that last couple of weeks of class, but it's I think the topics being real world and applicable also to academic issues provides a broad base that lets students see how these issues can be addressed in writing, and also gives them something that is tangible and realistic to write about. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing everyone else's presentations.